Neon streets, they glow tonight. Questions buzzing in the light. Cheyonne's got answers cool and clear. Traffic truths you'll wanna hear. Ask a traffic cop after dark, lighting up your mind like a spark. Rules of the road with a chill vibe, cruising knowledge on this late night ride. Brake lights flash under the moon. Sean's wisdom cuts through the gloom. Relaxed and fun with a steady tone. He makes the road feel like home. Ask a traffic cop after dark, lighting up your mind like a spark. Rules of the road with a chill vibe, cruising knowledge on this late night ride. From stop signs to speeding tickets.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I'm your favorite ex-cop, Sean Shapiro. That's right, I'm a former police officer. I used to work for the Toronto Police, and that's over a year ago since I left. I miss it terribly, but I still want to give back to you. I want to be the voice of reason in the ridiculousness of what I see on the road every day. I want to help you know stuff and things, and I do that by sharing what I know about laws, about safety, about anything. We can talk about movies. And I want to talk about new cars because today I was test driving a couple of vehicles. That's not a very good Roscoe Pico train there. But I want to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I have the ability to bring guests on the show. So if you are so inclined, if you think you'd like to actually guest, then please send me an email. You can send me an email at askatrafficcop@gmail.com and tell me who you are and what you want to talk about, and we can bring you onto the screen via Zoom. I'll send you back a Zoom invite, which is pretty cool. I think it's really cool. Actually, one of the things I haven't done, I just bought a new Mac, like quite literally. Well, no, I had it in a box and I opened it up and said, I'm going to do something real dumb. I'm going to try and set this up before the show. It's not set up. It is running. I'm logged in. I just haven't installed the email. So ask traffic cop. Let's see here. Dots at Gmail. I'm going to log in so I can actually see the email should you decide to join. But if you've got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, don't hesitate. Ask the questions. No question is stupid. No question is silly. Well, other than the questions that aren't asked. That's kind of the thing. And I see people jumping in on all the platforms we're currently broadcasting on: X, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course, YouTube. Because wherever you are, it's where you should be. And we want you to enjoy the show right there. Okay, what does it say? You saved the passkey. Okay, cool. Did that work? It says you will be signed on. Wait a minute. It's doing something. All right, let's see. Drew Walters, how many push-ups can you do? Oddly enough, I just started a push-up routine. I'm doing the push-up plan. It's an app that goes through and allows you to build. So I'm doing my daily planks and push-ups. I did 25 push-ups before coming onto the live stream, so I'm feeling I'm not a push-up guy. I'm just getting back into it. And yeah. Oh, Jocelyn, thank you so much for bringing it up. Jocelyn wants to know why I stopped doing the audio recording of the handbook. I stopped because I've been so busy. It's a passion project. I want to do it, but I have been absolutely overrun. What you don't know about me is that beyond doing what I do when I'm online with you is that I run a couple of businesses and I love it and I want to do everything, but I'm short on time. We're launching some new software, which is educational platform. We happen to also be running into some content creation deadlines, we'll call it that. And I'm working with companies like SiriusXM. SiriusXM is obviously the Canadian side of it is satellite radio, and doing a safety campaign. I'm one of the am I one of? I am the representative dealing with this campaign. So I'm dealing with that too. So busy, 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 busy. But I want to get back into that. I will continue that platform. I'm not abandoning it. Let's see here about yellow light. If everyone is turning left with a car coming from, I'm going to come back to your question in a second. Melody says hello. And Melody, if you want to jump in, I will send you an invite if you're interested in joining the show. Melody, the mechanic, is a friend to the show and is on times available to answer questions. So there's the thing. Let's see here. Liz says, good evening, Sean. Good evening to you, Liz. But also, I should let you know, if you're coming in by YouTube, if you're coming in by X or LinkedIn, I can put your questions on screen. I can cut and paste and do it with the other platforms too. That's another story. It's easier on the other ones. Then we've got Brandon who says, hello, Sean, and all from Disneyland, California. Yay. Hope all had a fantastic day. I did have a fantastic day. I was out with Brian Max, who joined me last Tuesday night on screen, but this time, by the way, I'm way too low. I think the gas shock in my seat is no bueno. It's it goes down over time. Anyway, I was out running around with Brian, recording stuff and things in a couple of new vehicles that I thought were pretty awesome, and that was my thing. So it was a great day. California would be a great day. My brother's in California. I need to come down and visit him. And I apologize, Brandon, because we were going to try and hook up last week for lunch and it didn't work out. So let me know when you're back in town. Let's make it happen. Marilyn says, hello, Sean, with a wave. Liz has a question. We'll flag that for a second. And Brandon says he has a Ford Expedition as a rental. Sean, I think this would be a good SUV for me. Well, for you, but she means for me. And a little secret, I drive an Expedition right now. And today I test drove the 2025 Expedition Platinum XL. And other than the fact, okay, let me ask you, since you're driving one, what do you think of the steering wheel? Let me know. And maybe, Brandon, you want to jump in and talk about that during the show. Menraj Verk says, hey, Extrontonian and current, what does he say here? And current Texan here, roads here are the worst. Are the speed limits not 80 miles an hour there? They really do need to do something about they're having a lot of issues with traffic, bad stuff. Incurable collector. I almost called you the connector, but it's a incurable collector says, good evening, Sean. Mark here, X traffic. And RCMP, first time joining on YouTube. Awesome. And that is awesome, Mark. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Send me a DM so I can put you on my list. And if you want to join the show, send me an email to askatrafficcop@gmail.com. Maybe we bring you on screen, which is a big step for first time on YouTube. And then, hey, why don't you be on the show? But I have my email up, and if I see anyone pop in, I will send you the invite, because this is something new. I want to really, take it to the next level and make the show much more engaging and accessible. It's all about your questions. So let's get back onto the stuff and things here. I did, before we lose the comment on Instagram, IX says, about yellow light, if anyone is turning left, but the car coming from the front is stopped and then suddenly starts rolling on the yellow, an accident happens, who will be at fault? So let me just try and figure this out. The yellow light, someone's turning left and you want to run the yellow. So what does yellow mean? This is the first thing that we need to determine. And it is, yellow means stop. So if you're approaching a yellow light, your obligation is to stop unless it's unsafe to do so. So if you're past that point of no return and it would be unsafe for you to try and lock up the brakes, well, obviously you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go through with caution. But if you are approaching a stale green, you should be anticipating a slow down and stop and not trying to gas and go through, which means if you are hit by someone turning left, they are primarily responsible, but you can also be charged for running the yellow light. It is a charge under the Highway Traffic Act. Let's go through. I love when scam messages come through. Did you try and call? Hello? Oh, I got your resume. Yeah, all of those text messages are baloney. Just letting you know. Okay. Oh, Jay wants to know what my thoughts on speed cameras being taken down. I think it's a real shame. I stood in front of city council in Vaughan fighting for them. I wrote an article for the Globe and Mail supporting them, and I really believe in them. I think they are a valuable asset to the traffic safety world. I think that we should be putting them on every single road because nobody should be breaking the law. And so many people try and bring up, well, a cop wouldn't give you a ticket for five over, but a camera wouldn't give you a ticket for five over either. And the allegation to the contrary is, well, false. That's what it is. It's false. Cameras give amount of leeway. What that leeway is based, I assume, a percentage of approximately 10%, but I don't know for certain. They don't actually tell everybody because they don't want to tell them it's 10 kilometers, and then everyone just does 10 kilometers over and doesn't get a ticket. So they say, don't speed because it's against the law. And if you choose to speed, you're eligible for a ticket. And if you get one, it's your fault because you chose to speed. Now, somebody said, well, 7 to 10 kilometers, totally unreasonable. Well, hang on. Actually, I think I posted this on X as a reply. I would have given someone 15 over in a 60 without question. 25% over. But what is 25% over in a 30? It's less than 15. So the people who whine about going 10 or 15 over and being held accountable, I have no sympathy. But we'll move on. So obviously, Jay, I am not happy about them. Yeah, being taken down. I think it's the wrong move. But you know what? When we see death tolls go up, we'll know who to blame. Yasmin says, preparing for Toronto police, any words of wisdom? Be honest and better you tell them before they find out on their own. If you're hiding stuff, it does not look good. It's deceit. So if you have some stuff that happened when you were younger, then just say what it is, because it's going to come out. And you're better if you've grown from that mistake, and it's no longer who you is. Well, that's not a problem. If it was something, you shoplifted a chocolate bar when you were 8, we're over it. If you haven't done anything wrong since then, you're probably doing okay. Now, that being said, stay out of trouble, stay away from booze and other things. Make good choices as to who you spend time with, because that all comes back. And of course, stay up to date with your physical and your academics. Just keep studying, keep learning, take courses, make yourself the most interesting applicant there is. We'll look at the different options and opportunities with the Toronto Police later. I like pulling up their website and seeing what's up. If you're watching and you're new, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. My goal is to make roads safer, well, everywhere. So that's the thing. Does this work? No. Does this work? I'm pressing the wrong button. That doesn't work. Why isn't this working? This works. Oh, none of this. Oh, you know why it doesn't work? Yeah. Let me press a button here so that I can once again have access to my. Come on. There we go. We'll launch, and then all my buttons will come back. And it still doesn't work. How about now? Oh, maybe I have to. No, yeah, I'm in the wrong. Okay. Yeah. What can I say? Some days. Did I switch it? Here we go. No, why is Logan coming up? Oh, nothing's working the way I want it to. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I should have checked that earlier instead of working on the new Mac. Anyway, my name is Sean Shapiro, former police officer who now talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff as a civilian. And I want to thank our sponsors, Diamond and Diamond Lawyers. They are magical people who help keep the show going because things cost money. I just bought a new Mac. It's expensive. It's not even a fancy Mac, but it's all about making the show better for you. Okay, if we get back into the whole questions and answers thing, we'll do this. Incurable Collector says, yellow means be ready to stop because it's turning red soon. And terrible decisions from Ford, especially speed cameras in school zones. 100%. And thank you for weighing in on the speed camera discussion. My whole thing is, why are, like, how badly is someone being held accountable? How many tickets does someone have to be that they start making a difference in the premier's life, that he decides it's worth taking a decision against, well, saving lives? I don't know. Okay. Oh, Menaraj, who moved to Texas, says he already misses Canada, only 3 months away. And Brandon says the steering wheel is not his favorite. That's the steering wheel inside. I have a picture. Can I show you the picture? Of course, I don't have it set up to to properly show you, but I can take I can show you the picture I took of the steering wheel to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Library. Here we go. It's upside down in this picture, but it's a weird steering wheel. You kind of want to, or kind of think it's a Tesla Cybertruck with its yoke-like steering wheel. It is not. And it is. I got used to it after a day of driving it, but it's a little odd. It's a little awkward. Okay, Rob Ford. Brandon says Rob Ford said he's putting up signs, but everyone who got a speed camera ticket weren't paying attention to the signs, which proved that signs don't work alone. I have had so many emails, and thank you for all the emails. Anyone who's watching and watches the show, really appreciate all the feedback that I got from y'all. And it's amazing. One viewer put or sent me a video with all of the signage and the fact that none of it works, but the camera works. That's the one thing that slows people down, because you can put signs everywhere, and if people don't respect the law and don't feel like it's going to bite them in the ass, they don't follow the law. Yeah. And what else did he say? Tien says, but he's adding pretty flashing lights and making them bigger. To him, that's enough. Here's a funny one. I was talking about it on the episode I recorded today with Brian, and that is, I have been driving around in my truck and other trucks, and these cushions that everyone's talking about, and they're installing them in neighborhoods all over the place, especially in New York region. They've already started chopping up the concrete since they've decided to stop the whatchamacallit, the cameras. Yeah. The wheelbase in my truck is wider than the cushions. What does that mean? It means that I don't actually get a speed bump. Yeah. There's effectively no speed bump or cushion for moi, because my truck is big enough that if I wanted to drive fast over them, I could, which just says this is silly. But apparently, people, well, they'll just slow down. Stephen Bell says, hi, Sean. Good evening. Good evening to you, too. And let's get into more stuff and things on TikTok. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, please tap the screen until your fingers go numb. It really does help get more people to the party. The more people to the party, the more questions that are unique. And that's what this is all about. And for anyone who's watching, I'm in Ontario, Canada, where laws are possibly different than when you are. So if you're asking a question, please specify where you're asking for, because it is very possible that it's different. People lost their minds when I talked about school buses. Most of those people were in Ohio or Nebraska. Like, people got really offended that I said you had to stop for a school bus. And that, if you didn't see the video, check it out on all my channels. But it was talking about the fact that when there's school bus stopping with lights and a stop sign, y'all got to stop in either direction in an undivided road. Well, apparently in some states, a divided road includes a turning lane. That's the divided road. Painted lines on the ground divide a road in some places. But the vast majority of the United States agree with Canada that, well, kids are important and we should stop for school buses. And they were talking like, that's a huge road. They were talking about it like it was the 401. It was a 4-lane or 5-lane road if you include the center lane. But, whatever. What do we got here? We talked about cops are never your friend as per lawyers. That's from I don't know how to pronounce your name. Cops are absolutely your friend if you're not breaking the law. If you're breaking the law, expect to be held accountable. Doesn't mean we're not your friends. In fact, I remember a wonderful campaign that I talk about a lot. It was called the Wipe 5 Off campaign by the Traffic Accident Commission. I hate the word accident. There's no accidents in traffic. There are poor decisions made by drivers, but the Traffic Accident Commission, look them up. They make some of the best commercials ever. TAC. They talk about the fact that when we stop you and give you a ticket, you're the lucky one. The lucky ones get stopped. The ones who aren't so lucky end up hurting someone. And what I mean like that is unaliving. Apparently, you can't say things stronger than that, or people get offended in AI land on TikTok. We don't want that. Okay. Decepticons forever. How you doing? Good to see you, brother. We've got all sorts of folks here. Good to see you. And then Oh, so Jack says people are getting tickets for doing 1 kilometer over. Where? Show me proof. I don't believe for 1 second that anyone got a ticket for doing 1 kilometer over, unless it was 1 kilometer over the speed limit before it was reduced to 30. So if you're doing 11 over in a 30, I totally believe that you got a ticket for 1 over. I do not for a moment believe that 1 kilometer over is a thing anywhere. Certainly isn't a thing in Toronto, not a thing in York. Where? Jerry Agar once put up a challenge saying, "I'll give you money. I'll give you." I don't know if he said 500 or $1,000, but he called me. He says, "Am I going to get screwed?" I said, "No one's going to come. No one will have proof of this." And to my knowledge, no one has approached him with proof of a ticket for 1 kilometer over. It is that baloney that people use to support the, well, thing. Oh, let's see here. Oh, that was September 23rd. I thought it was a new question. I was going to say Will is still in his pajamas, but no, he is not in his pajamas. That's last week's question. If you want to join the show, and I mean on screen, go to www. No, don't go to www. Go to Gmail and send me an email. You can send me an email to my Gmail account, askatrafficcop. No, it's not dot. Just a Gmail. Yeah, I have a domain name that's Ask a Traffic Cop. You can go to Ask a Traffic Cop. You can send me voicemail. It's different. But I'm actually inviting people to join the show. If you want to join the show, let's bring you on screen. And if you think there's a reason to not have automated enforcement, regardless of what the fact that it's being taken away from Ontario or will be taken away, tell me what you think. Support that argument, please. Explain why it's a tax grab when people who are breaking the law are doing so and being held accountable. How is that a tax grab? They're voluntarily driving in a way that's putting them in the position of getting a ticket. Bove, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Legal move to jump out into open on-ramp and skip traffic on the highway. Oh, so you're talking about making a lane change into the on or the merge lane into traffic to then skip 10 cars ahead. Is it legal? It's not illegal if it's not done unsafely and if you're not driving off the roadway. So if you're driving in the areas of the bullnose, that could be off roadway and that could be a ticket for driving on a shoulder. Could it be an unsafe lane change or unsafe move? If there was a ticket for bonehead moves, that would be it. Because you are creating such a problem to move 10 car lengths. Do you really think you're getting it? And I'm not accusing you of doing it. You may just be asking a legit question. Yeah, it's just a bonehead move. People should not do that at all whatsoever. Dylan wants to know what my thoughts are on lane splitting in Ontario. I can tell you lane splitting anywhere in the province of Ontario or the country of Canada, and in fact, everywhere in the United States except for 5 U.S. states, it's illegal. Lane splitting is not legal. That is moving between lanes on a motorcycle, or I guess any vehicle, through moving traffic. Now, some allow it, like California, Hawaii, and it's really not a fantastic way to play. It's just not. It's not it's not safe, and that's why it's not legal. In again, all of Canada, not legal to lane split or lane what's it called? Filtering when you're moving through stop traffic. I have less of an issue with filtering. Melody says she's gonna join the show at some point, so that's cool. And Melody, I don't have my phone open right now, so do me a favor and email me just like everybody else. I'll respond with an invite. In fact, I should probably get that queued up. Stand by. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Oh, no, I'm on the right one. Hang on a second. How is this working? There we go. I need. Where is it? New meeting. We're going to start a new meeting. See if we crash everything. Okay. Copy that. I'm ready. I'm ready when somebody wants to join. I'm so confused as to what computer is what. How did I even do that just now? What? No. Oh, wow. Okay. That just freaked me right out. I used the mouse that's controlling my. Whoa. Does that? Okay. The reason I'm freaking out is because I'm using the same mouse. I have 3 monitors. I have a 34-inch. I have a whatever the heck enormous monitor that is, and I've got my laptop. I'm using the mouse on my Mac my laptop, and I scrolled over in the direction of the iMac, and it scrolled off of one. It's like doing what my iPad. That's freaky. So I have 3 monitors, and they're all working within one computer? I'm so confused right now. How this is working, I don't know, but I'm not gonna argue. I'm just gonna go with it. It's weird and wonderful, and I think I can, because I'm all anyway, this will be, this will be very interesting. I'm just gonna cut and I wonder if I can cut. Is this gonna work? It worked. I cut and anyway, I cut and paste between 2 computers. Macintosh computers, Apple products are psychic. They just know what you want, and it works. This is too cool. And I'm gonna stop talking about it because it's freaking me out. Freak me out. All right. Uh, let's see here. Don't know if this is applicable. In Alberta, I've seen Alberta sheriff vehicles and RCMP vehicles. That is the difference between the two, as I see both in my small town. I don't know. What is the difference? What is the difference? So first of all, Alberta sheriffs do traffic enforcement in Alberta. They're not police constables; they're sheriffs, and they have they're like special constables. I want to say maybe it's not perfectly accurate, but they can enforce the Highway Traffic Act or the Highway Safety Act in Alberta, but they're not police officers per se. And RCMP are police officers; they're federal officers. So yeah, I believe that Alberta sheriffs do very specific things and handle prisoner transportation and things of that nature. Okay. But cool. And welcome to the show. I don't think we've ever seen you before. Matt says, "Hey, Sean, what are your thoughts on Alberta potentially looking at an alternative police force to the RCMP?" That just means that they're looking at getting a provincial policing and not relying on the RCMP, which is cool. It's like the OPP in Ontario. I think that it makes sense for a province to have a police service that deals with their matters and doesn't rely on federal officers. They might hire a whole bunch of them when they're trying to create it, but that's normal, right? Like if they have enough business to support their own, then they should, because they're paying for it either way. They just get people who are more specialized for their jurisdiction. Uh, Okay. He says, this is Brandon saying, I have to go about to head on the cars ride. I'm back in town next week. Hope you all have a good night. He's taking off with Magical tomorrow. Brandon's a chef, and he's spending a lot of time because he's working with Disney as a fancy pants chef. And cool. Here in London, Ontario, I've already asked our LPDHTA questions 4 weeks ago. Cool. You've asked them. I don't know if you asked me, but I'm glad that you asked questions. You've been, Stephen, you've been a regular participant in the live streams. Cool. I'm glad to have you here. Okay, let's scroll back and see what's cooking. Jeff, thank you for the gift. I didn't see the animation, but I appreciate you. If you got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, whatever platform you're on, feel free to ask the questions, and I'll try and answer them. If you want to join the show, and I really do mean join it in the form of hopping on the stream, coming on to the joining me on the stage, you can do that. It's pretty cool. I have the technology to bring you on. And although I think it currently says Brian Max, it does say Brian Max. We can change that, and we can put your name on. So if you want to join, by all means, you can drop in. All right. Oh, Dylan's a dum-dum. What is he saying? Interesting. He's making allegations. He doesn't like police, apparently. Now, let's see here. Hex 1122 says you can't have liquor in the cab of your vehicle open. What happens when sober with open edible box? So if you have edibles, drugs, or at least cannabis, and I mean illicit drugs are illicit drugs, but cannabis, which is what you're talking about with gummies and alcohol, same deal. So you can transport your legally purchased from a official supplier sealed package, brand new from factory or from packaging, sealed on your person. It's not illegal. You can have a sealed from factory bottle of wine in the cab of your vehicle. However, if the seal is broken, you cannot have it in a readily accessible place where the driver could access it. So the way it's described more often than not is in a container out of reach of the driver. So sometimes you don't have a trunk to put it in, as in some vehicles. They're like a Corvette doesn't really have a place. Well, I guess it has a Corvette trunk. Is that a frunk? Anyway, it's got places you can put stuff, and it's better there than close to you because it removes the chance of you getting into trouble. Okay. Tim Ton says thoughts on quads and dirt bikes on city roads. I recently saw a quad in Barrie, when I was on my way to King of the North, and I was shocked. I didn't think that it qualified to be there. I actually don't think it qualified to be there, but I'm not familiar with their city bylaws, and maybe they allow them. That's entirely possible. Decepticons Forever says, Sean, why do people in Teslas drive in front of me and always brake check me? It's annoying. Are they brake checking you, or is the automated computer that's in beta software being overly cautious, trying to maintain a following distance of the vehicle in front of it? I don't know if they're actively brake checking you or if they're just flashing lights because the computer is, looking at stuff and things and trying to determine what's what. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. And I see a lot of bad driving, and I don't know if I should be blaming the driver or the beta software that's in control of the vehicle because I see it all over the place. Yeah, it's a thing. I did drive a Tesla Cybertruck recently, and I think that the software that allows the vehicle to do its thing is pretty damn impressive. I did it. I let it do it. I watched it do it. I don't know if I really trust it though. It did some squirrely things that I took over in control of. Which is why when you are driving a Tesla in full self drive, you are the one responsible, not the vehicle, and it's not being managed by anyone but you. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. If you want to join the show, you can email me at askatrafficcop@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You can be on screen having a conversation right now. That's an option that I leave open to you, but you can also just throw your questions into the chat and we'll work through them. I'm here until 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock? No, I'm not. 10 o'clock. Yes, I don't want to do 11 o'clock. That was last week. We did 2 hours and it was exhausting, but I have other stuff I have to do right after the show. Okay. Dylan really has a hate on. What is Dylan's problem? And Melody says, what is AT? Oh, all-terrain vehicle. Thank you for breaking that down. We got Scott, who says, can you drink non-alcoholic beer while driving? You can, I should say, depends where you are. If you're in Alberta, my understanding is that you could be charged for distracted driving because you are not allowed to consume water or anything while you're driving, from what I've been told by friends who live there. In Ontario, you can drink water and non-alcoholic beverages as long as it's not interfering with your ability to safely operate your motor vehicle, which means if you are drinking from a 1-liter bottle and your vision is obscured and you're weaving all over the place, that's careless driving. So you'd be eligible for that. But it wouldn't be impaired driving by virtue of a non-alcoholic beer or beverage. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I imagine you'd get pulled over a lot. I think that a lot of people would have they'd want to investigate to ensure that you are safe for the road. Frito says, hey, sir, I got a red light camera. I passed the white line, $328. I disputed. Frito, did the dispute work? If you got a red light camera, it means you entered the intersection after it was red, whether it was a fraction of a second or more. You should have stopped. You were too close. It was a stale light that you tried to get through, I'm assuming, or you went through and it was completely red. But I'd love to know more. So you disputed it. What grounds are you going to use to defend it? That's my question. If you've not already found it. If you defended it and won, I'm interested in knowing that too. Redmond Tuck wants to know if burnouts are legal. No, they're not legal. You're not only damaging the road surface, which you can, I think, be charged based on the amount of rubber and damage to the road based on footage. But you can also find yourself in a not good place with stunt driving being laid. Oh, look at that. We're going to find out with Melody if this works. Where'd we go? Did it go? Did it work? Here we go. I'm going to hit send. I'm using one mouse to rule everything. This is so freaky. I know I'm making a thing out of nothing. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. If you're watching and you want to know stuff and things about policing, traffic safety, traffic law, feel free to drop a question into the comments. And very, very shortly, we will have Melody joining us on screen. And Melody is a mechanic and can answer traffic and, car questions and truck questions and mechanic questions. If you want to know about modified vehicles, ask. The worst thing that'll happen is we won't have an answer. But Melody knows lots of stuff and things and can swing a sledgehammer like nobody's business. Okay. Moving right along. We have thoughts on lane splitting. That was Dylan again. We talked about that. Not legal. And Canadian Ape says, bad idea. And here's a real good reason as to why it's a bad idea. Have you seen the level and quality of driving on the roads when you go out and about? Do you really want to put your life in the hands of one of those drivers? Listen, if you're in Los Angeles, everyone there knows the deal. The California Highway Patrol says it's legal because it is. They also warn and say it's really dangerous because it is. And they talk about speed differential, and speed differential is really what gets you. That's what takes you out of the game. And it's when you are going way fast and everyone else is going way slow. I have much less of a problem. Traffic at a walking pace, even 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers an hour. But when people are doing it at 30, 40, 50, that is deadly. It's no bueno. Okay. Redmond Tuck asks silly questions and it's not serious. Thus, I will ignore them. Yeah, they allege that they run from the police because they're criminals. They don't say criminal, but they're asking stupid questions, which means they're probably full of it. But we're moving on. Caden has a question, says another person with interesting comments. They said, I blew past a cop at 170 and he didn't even pull out. Why didn't he? Well, first of all, what the hell are you doing 170? Stunt driving, I would have charged you criminally if I found a opportunity to get air support or find you or just head you off at the path. Like if you would have got caught, that should be handcuffs. But anyway, he probably didn't want to chase you because it wasn't worth it. Because putting his life and everyone else's life in danger when you're already proven that you're a retard for doing 170 on the road. I shouldn't use the word, but I used it anyway. Yeah, Caden. Frito says it's 40 kilometers an hour in the entire city. It's a little slow, don't you think? Okay, we didn't get a definition as to why you were running the red light camera. But 40 kilometers an hour in the entire city is designed so that you don't kill anybody. That's kind of the thing. And I think I hear my friend. Let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. Melody. Hang on a second. Let's guest one, guest two. I don't think I assigned you a guest spot. So let me do this because we need to do that. Show source. Assign placeholder. Guest one. Hey, Melody, you're on with Sean. I'm going to change your name. Is that
Hello.
okay? I'm actually going to put your name.
Yeah.
Because you don't look like Brian. Just saying.
Yeah, I got a little bit more hair.
Let's see here. We got Melody. We'll just put Melody. Can I do this? Let's see. Melody. Did I spell that right? EY? Oh no, you didn't see it. How do you spell it? Is it? Where are we going? Yeah, I got it right.
MELODY.
Look at that. Done.
There we go.
And all right, cool. Excellent. Well, welcome to the new look and feel of the show. I am really excited to be able to use Zoom now to do this. This is neat for me. And if we do get more people, we can put them right in between us. Guest number 2. Just saying. Okay. So this discussion of, well, we've been discussing so many things, but I love the people who are claiming that speed limits are low and their vehicles can't go that slow. My response has always been that if they can't maintain a speed limit of 30 or 40 kilometers an hour, there's probably something wrong with their accelerator, and it might be the foot pressing down.
There's something wrong with them.
I was test driving a what was it? A TRD Pro. It was a TRD Pro.
Toyota.
Yes, it was very interesting because Brian was telling me that's his pick for me. He wants me to get the Sequoia, and it's a nice truck.
They are nice. Yeah.
And it goes it sounds fast. It was again TRD Pros are top of the line off-roady version, and it was very nice. I quite enjoyed driving it. The whatchamacallit, the questions. If you've got questions for Melody, Melody is a mechanic. I should probably put Melody the mechanic on screen instead of just Melody. Is that a better title?
Sure.
Melody does not care. I pressed the wrong button.
No.
Let's try this again. But yeah, if you've got questions about stuff and things and you think Melody might have the answer, let me know. The mechanic. That's mechanic, right? That's right. There we go. It's getting wordy.
Yeah,
It's getting wordy
yeah,
on
that's
screen.
right.
Maybe I should make it a little small. Things that's a big 62. Let's go 48 and see what it looks like. Save. There we go. It's better. It's less overwhelming. Okay. My name is Sean Shapiro, and this is Melody, and we are talking about stuff and things, mostly about traffic safety, traffic law, police stuff, and mechanical stuff, because Melody is a mechanic, and it's so on screen, so it must be true. Let's see what's going on. We've got Danny, who wants to know. He says, "Hey, Mr. Sean, I drove my bro's car without insurance, got into a collision. What will happen?" Danny, bad things are going to happen. Now, it was your brother's car, and if he let you drive the car, he's going to get whacked because he let you drive a car without insurance, and he's eligible for fines from $5,000 to $25,000 on a first conviction, which is not good. That is simply not where you want to be. It also can join up to 6 months in jail kind of situation, depending on that's just first conviction. So that's no bueno. We've got that is a base thing. So yeah, that's a thing. Northern Bear 67 says, "Well, guess my camera question was missed. First question, ask Sean." Sean doesn't love me, he says. I don't see your camera question. Let me scroll back unless I got it. And there is a lag. I'm way behind on questions, but I don't see your first question. So please ask it again. Not intentionally. I was not ignoring you intentionally. AKA Weird says, "Are special constables in Ontario allowed to pull over?" Unless they've been given special authority, I'm not aware of special constables being able to stop motor vehicles for Highway Traffic Act enforcement. However, on private property, they may have authority in different ways, like TTC special constables may be able to do things, but I am not aware of the details. And maybe we should have the special constable chief constables come in. Melody, just I'm going to put you in the green or off screen for a second, and I will bring you back.
Okay.
Just so you're not staring at the keyboard, which is not a bad thing. But if we get questions specific to you, I'll bring you back in. And if you have anything you want to say, just start talking, and I'll bring you back in. Because I will hear you, because I do hear you. We do hear you. So don't. Yes, even though you're not on screen. Let's see here. Normal people learn from their mistakes. That's Nick Tick 20. I agree. Most people do, and honest people tend to do things honestly. And speeding falls into a really weird space. People think speeding's okay. Many people thought that impaired driving was okay, like for years and years, which is interesting, don't you think? It is one of those oddities where we somehow make it okay to do a whole bunch of things that are dangerous and wrong, but everybody else is doing it, so it must be okay. Okay, Disposable says, "Why is there no enforcement of tow limits? Elantras shouldn't be towing RVs." It depends on the qualifications and the understanding of everything. Every copper is not created equal. There are some who are wonderful tactical operators, and other ones who they really know about traffic, and other ones who know about these specialties. And I wouldn't want to go into a tactical situation where I don't have the same proficiency, and I wouldn't want them to come and do a collision report. So everyone's got we've got the basics are all the same, but when you get into special skills, it changes considerably. What we got here? We got Jeff, who says, what does Jeff say? Oh, Jeff's an MS warrior. I like that you're real. That's what Jeff says. Jeff, thank you very much. And I try and be real. I try and keep it real. And if anyone's watching and doesn't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. And then, of course, we've got Melody, who is here as I put you on screen without warning you. And Melody is a mechanic. And if you got questions for Melody, by all means, drop them in. And Melody is is constantly. It's funny. We started talking a while ago because we have a mutual friend on TikTok who might be in the appliance business, and we've talked about stuff and things. But it's great to be able to have people from the community, and this is a community. People who are regular participants in the chat now have the ability to be on screen. So I'd love to hear from anyone who is interested in joining the show. You can email me at askatrafficcop@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know who you are and what you want to talk about, and we'll bring you out to the show because I think that is awesome. Makes it all special. Death of the interesting. No, I won't bother reading your name because it sounds like you might have some interesting feelings, and they go on to also to discuss cameras and cash grabs, suggesting that bumpers work, speed bumps work, but speed bumpers don't work because people get tickets speeding between speed bumps. Nick Tick 20 says, one issue that I have with signs that are there's so many that I cannot see them all at once. So this is in discussion with the fact that there's signs everywhere. There's signs, and they tend to become irrelevant, I guess. I do think the giant speed limit sign is pretty relevant, though. So while there may be, and parking signs, there are many, and it can be difficult at times, but you're not driving quickly when you're seeing them. Joker says, people think speed cameras are a cash grab till a loved one gets hurt by someone going over the limit. Bingo. Melody, can I bring you on camera, on screen?
Sure. Yep.
So a question for you is, you are outside of the GTA, you're in a more rural environment. Do you have speed cameras in your community?
I don't know of a single one in our county.
Okay.
Like, if there is one, I've not even heard of it.
Do you find that people are going way over the speed limit, speeding an issue in your community?
Yes. We only have the 402 as the major highway. But then we've got all the 2-lane highways and back road. Everybody, everywhere. It's not as 401.
It's still fast.
It's still speeding.
And what's your I mean, I don't expect you to have stats for your community, but are you having a problem with major collisions and people getting killed? Like we just had today, I saw a press release pop out from the Toronto Police that said there was a motorcyclist killed as an SUV made a left turn. I believe it was a left turn. And this is just one example of people getting killed. Speed is almost always a factor. Now, I don't know the details. I'm not privy to that information, just what was in the press release. I don't know what caused it, but I would assume somebody was doing something wrong.
Yeah, a lot of our accidents in the area are specific intersections, mostly rural ones, but a higher traffic area, and somebody will just run the stop sign at full speed and take out whoever happens to be in the intersection. We've had a few intersections turned to roundabouts, which has really helped, but you can't do that in every location.
So the roundabouts have been positive?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, I would say they definitely are. The first one that was put in, Lakeshore Road and Mindaumen Road, and it was a lot of truck traffic having to stop and then try and go again, and a lot of just car traffic coming the other way. So the roundabout has kept the flow going, and I don't know of any fatal accidents since they've put that roundabout in at that intersection.
Roundabouts are supposed to make everything safer. In the smaller communities, especially where I am, I find them to be scary because it's playing chicken every time you go in, because most people don't understand the rules surrounding them. They don't yield to the vehicles inside. They actually give it and try and get in before you. And it's interesting. But, I'm one who is never back down from a game of chicken. So it's scary.
Yeah, no, I think they are a positive influence where they've been used in my area.
That's cool. Do you have HOV lanes? Because I got a question about HOV lanes, and this
No.
user CNN contractor says, "Why can't the police do more to stop single drivers from using the HOV lanes in the 410?" And I mean, I have my answer, and it's my answer for a lot of police-related lack of enforcement situations, and it's that we don't have enough cops on the road. There's just not enough cops to do everything all the time, and enforcement tends to be the nice thing when they have time, and that's just non-existent right now. But do you have high occupancy vehicle lanes by you?
No, no, the 402 doesn't have any.
Interesting. I think they're the reason I would buy an electric vehicle. It's like to use those solo legally. It's also a reason to have children
Yeah,
and
I mean,
friends.
for here, yeah, because like I've a few times lately done the trip from here all the way up to Smiths Falls to visit our friends and back. So that's a lot of like that's almost the full length of the 402 and then a huge section of the 401. And I don't see an HOV lane till I get to the GTA
Interesting, interesting.
or somewhere around there. I don't pay attention to it because I'm driving alone, so I can't use it.
Well, there you go.
But
Okay. I'm gonna switch camera angles for a second because I want to do. We'll come back to you in a second. My name is
yeah,
Sean Shapiro. That was Melody. Melody's a mechanic. I'm a former police officer talking about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And if you want to know stuff and things, then come on down and ask. You can also join the show just like Melody did by emailing me at askatrafficcop@gmail.com. And let's see, we got a question from Marcus Menino who says, "What would you do differently to slow down? If do differently to slow down or to slow drivers down, if any?" He's gotten tickets, but he still agrees with having cameras. Well, I think cameras, I mean, I would love to see more cameras. I'd like to see more cops. But if you knew, guaranteed you were getting a ticket, I assume that you wouldn't break the law. What I find is happening is that people are risking it, and the chance that they may get caught because they're just between cameras, or they didn't realize it was a camera zone, or they're waiting for a cop to stop them, they're rolling the dice, and that's where I think the situation is. So I think if you have a chance to break the law and possibly not get caught, that's why people speed. If you knew you would absolutely get caught, you probably wouldn't. Let's see here. We've got Kayam Azizi says, "I have vision problem and have to see my ID card. Can I move the car around private property?" Sorry, let's try this again. "And I've seen my ID card." I'm not sure, Kayam, what you're asking. You have a vision problem. Can you drive a car on private property legally? You don't need a driver's license to drive on private property. That's something, but should you be driving it if you can't see? That sounds incredibly dangerous. And obviously, I would suggest against it. And you could be charged for careless driving on private property. So, yeah, I would strongly suggest against it. I mean, I can't tell you it's illegal per se, because the vision requirements are that of a licensed operator and not specific to an unlicensed operator where you don't need a license. It's an interesting question, but yeah, I don't suggest it. Uh, let's see here. We got one person wants to know where my hair is. It left me when I was in my 40s. So yeah, it's it's not something I'm looking for. In fact, I very very strongly suggest that people who want to grow older gracefully do so by shaving their heads, instead of waiting for it to leave on its own terms. I made the bold decision to just take it all off, and I think it's a better look. What I did is I reversed it. So when I do the inversion thing and hang from my feet, it looks like I have a full head of hair. No, I don't know. I like the beard, and I was happy that it all moved south. It's not for everybody, but I save a ton of money on haircuts. Anyway, Melody, anything going on with you in terms of interesting projects? You were beating the crap out of some vehicle last week.
uh, yeah, I don't. Here's the I don't have a whole lot going on right now. It's kind of been a lot of in and out, fixed it and it's gone. Um, I do have one of the infamous 6.2 liters that locked up,
Oh,
and I'm waiting for an engine for it to replace that.
okay. Well, it's very interesting, from a mechanic's perspective. And I know we can't talk about brands, um, which is what, but I'd ask you to weigh in on which are I think brands that you don't work with. If you were, like I test drove today, a Ford Expedition and a TRD Pro Sequoia. Is would you lean towards one or the other? Is the Japanese brand that much better for reliability from what you've heard?
Well, lately the Tundra engines have been a big problem.
Really?
Um, and I don't. Yeah, there's I think they recalled the engines or something like that. I haven't really followed up a whole lot on it, but Toyota is not without their problems. Um, Even the recall on the Tundra frames, like the whole frame had
Wow.
to be replaced on the trucks.
So not simply
So
a good to
that's
go situation just because it's a Japanese brand.
it. It no, it anymore. You can't just say, "Hey, this brand has no problems." Every brand's got problems. Um, I know, like Honda on some of their engines, the same ones that run the really light engine oil, they've had problems with them locking up. Hyundai Kia has had major problems
Wow.
with their engines. Um, Ford, I don't know a whole lot on the Fords whether they lock up, but like the 3.5 liter and the timing chains.
So everyone's got their issues. That's
And
that's the big thing.
everyone's got their issues. There's there's a 1.5 liter Ford that's constantly got coolant intrusion. And then you get into transmissions and all that. Like Ford and GM share a transmission.
And they're all questionable
So
at times. It's good to know. You're
it's
making my
it
question,
really
my
is
decision harder because now it's like it just means like it's a crapshoot.
it's it really is anymore. And like I don't know much about the Sequoia anymore. And the Ford, it depends on what engine you get, but it's probably gonna have the same transmission that the GMs have,
Okay, good to know.
where the brands got together and built one transmission. So what I work on, Ford also works on.
I just saw a question that popped in that is a good question for you. Windshield tint. They want to know if it's
So
legal.
the up to January 1st, 2017. So after that date, you can't have any kind of tint.
On the windshield.
And then beforehand, it's 70 on the windshield, and before that date, it's 75 millimeters or not below, like from the top down, 75 millimeters or not below the AS1 line,
Right.
which is little marks up on the sides of the windshield.
So it depends because it could be 3 inches or it could be or 75 mil or the line. But at the end of the day, I don't even think it looks good. Like people love them. I'm seeing a lot of modern cars that have them still, and they likely don't realize it's not legal. And then there's people that have the entire windshield done, which is shocking to me that they think that's even remotely safe.
Yeah.
But there you go.
I I have driven a few vehicles into the shop that have the full windshield, and just going into the shop out of the sunlight, it is
I
dark.
bet.
I wouldn't wanna drive that vehicle at night.
No. I mean, there are a lot of people, the old school guys, that would get onto the chat and they'd say, "Well, you know what? I just roll down my windows so I can see at night." But the windshield, you got no options. Mind you, I've seen some interesting technology, which is the electronic tint that you can hit a button and change the darkness, which is interesting, but doesn't make it legal.
Yeah. I years ago snow plowed using it was a Dodge truck that had legal tint at the time. It was legal tint on the front windows. And when I was snow plowing at night,
Mhm.
it didn't matter how cold it was, I had to have the windows rolled down because I couldn't see out. And we had floodlights on the truck.
That's wild.
So
That's wild.
it was very dark.
You know what? I've
It was nice in the summer,
well,
but
and I get it. I get it in places like Texas. You know, you're in the desert. You know, you really need to manage the solar load in your vehicle. But the truth is, UV light is a clear coating, and you can reduce a lot of that. But darker is cooler, and I can appreciate that. Trying to stay cool is important, but not at the sacrifice of safety. Someone says here, I got a stunt driving 120 and a 60. Is it as bad as everyone says? Do you mean like when you're convicted? It's a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition for the first time. It is a $2,000 to $10,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. So I would say it's not good. It's not good. They're giving people jail
it
time these days.
I mean, depends on where you live. Like I have no public transit options.
Right. So now you're Uber or some other alternative.
Like,
But Greg says it's not as bad. It's
yeah,
not so
I
bad.
also wouldn't be able to. I also wouldn't be able to work.
Well, yeah, you'd be messed up.
Like I rely on my license for work.
It's no bueno. I've been saying no bueno a lot tonight. I've been doing Duolingo Spanish, so it's in top of mind. Clarity Creator says, is long tube headers on a Mustang illegal? I don't know what long tube headers are.
No, as long as you still have the emission systems and it's not too loud. But yeah, you could put headers on.
But so what is for? I'm not a mechanic, obviously. What are long tube headers? What does that mean? Is that the little ported doodads that? That's my high tech. I mean, in old muscle cars, I used to see little. It looks like little exhaust pipes on top of each thingamabobber. What's a header? What's a long? I want to Google it now.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's changing the exhaust system. It,
Oh, is this the
you
extent?
change the angles of
Oh,
it.
okay.
Just it's for extending them so that you have better exhaust flow. Like you get rid of any rough edges or sharp turns, so that everything gets out a lot more efficiently. And same as having a tuned and ported and everything intake system, so the air gets in the most efficient way possible. So you can customize exhaust. It just has to retain, like I'm talking for Ontario, it has to retain its emissions control systems and the volume level be within what it would normally would have been built with,
Okay,
like industry standard.
right on. There's the answer on long headers. First time I ever heard the terminology. So, but that's cool. I see this is great that you come in and answer stuff and things that I know nothing about. I love it. User lots of numbers says the bus lanes are the painted red. No cars are supposed to go in them. Can motorcycles go in them? No. Those are reserved for transit unless there's a sign allowing it. They are not allowed. In fact, the signs specifically state who can go in there, and I believe it's transit only. Brinks had asked about tint on your windshield, so we covered that. James or Candace says, I've asked 2 questions waiting on the answer, and I will go back, James and Candace. The sad thing about this platform is occasionally AI flags something that's said and we don't see it. I've had this happen on a regular basis. I don't see the, oh, wait. I see a comment about a choking hazard. But I don't see that's an answer. I don't think that's a question. I don't like when I miss things. So if it's there, do me a favor, please ask it again because I don't see it. I've scrolled back a lot, and sadly, is no there. All right, let's see what we have here. We got the. What time do you have to stop driving when you have a G1? That's an interesting question that very few people actually ask. You can't drive between midnight and 5 a.m. That is the restriction for a G1, which is kind of interesting because people kind of volunteer to be the designated driver. And there's two problems with that. One, you can't drive between midnight and 5 a.m. And two, the person you're being supervised by has to be sober or under 0.05 blood alcohol content. They have to be qualified and capable of legally driving themselves in order to supervise you, which is kind of cool or not cool, depending on how you perceive that information. Oz seems to think that Ontario has the dumbest rules regarding the roads ever. He says, "You guys really banned radar detectors?" Yeah, because radar detectors are dumb in terms of making them legal because it lets people speed and avoid being caught. The goal is to catch the people who speed because speeding is illegal. Why would I give you something that helps avoid being held accountable for speeding? Wow. And then Greg says he hasn't hit anybody yet, so he must be a good driver. That doesn't mean anything. And James and Candace got the answer. Oh, that's so weird. Why is Melody? For some reason, I think I'm logged in with the wrong account on thing. So last pressed the wrong button. The last time I used the Zoom, I was using a free account sampling to see if it worked. This time I used a paid account, or so I thought. Let me just see here. I'm really curious now what did I do here? Anyway, I'll have it fixed for next time because I do have a paid account now, and it just gave me the warning saying 40 minutes is up, and it's going to kick you off in a second. So with that, I should probably say goodnight because I'm going to try and go real quick through the rest of the questions that we have not answered. But I really appreciate you jumping into the live, and we'll have you on again. It's great to have the mechanic's perspective.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, listen, you have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too. Yeah.
And that's Melody, and I'm let's see here in the meeting. Yeah, I'm in the wrong account. That's why I'm in the wrong account. Anyway, now I will be in the right account next time. So weird. Anyway, ho hum. Let me just scroll here and let's go through the rest of the questions we got here. Mad Ice is having fun with James. Okay. Ken says, have you got playoffs tickets for the Blue Jays? I do not. I'm not a big sports person, so I've not been following that. Ashleen wants to know if it's legal to breathe in Ontario. Sure, just don't do it loudly, otherwise you get a ticket. James wants to know why. I understand now the question about ATV. All-terrain vehicle does not mean it's legal for the street. That is why you can't drive it anywhere. All-terrain simply means it's an off-road vehicle. It does not mean that you can drive it on the road just because it's capable of driving on all-terrain. Legally for the road is different. Baden Scully wants to know if it's illegal to smoke cigarettes or vape while in driving or randomly in public. Depends on what you're smoking and where you're smoking and who's close by. So very specifically, if you have a passenger under the age of 16, it is against the law to drive to smoke or vape in their presence in the vehicle. Hey, Bush Outdoors Canada. He says he loves waves. This is I don't know the context of that, but it's what he said, so I'm reading it. Now, if you want a marathon watch, you should be talking to Bush Outdoors Canada. Sean will hook you up. He's a great guy and known him for a long time. Let's see here. Melody already got that question. But James is really stuck on the whole not road legal all-terrain vehicle. We're moving along. D-Rock wants to know why Ontario is so strict. Everywhere is probably strict, and if you're probably doing something that's illegal here, you're probably just breaking the law wherever you are. And Adam Fan 1 says, going to police academy next September, what would your tips be on going into traffic law? Read, learn, be interested, be a sponge, write a lot of tickets, get used to testifying. I think traffic is the best place to be. I was going to say something else, but it's probably not appropriate. It's the best place to be, where you're going to be the most independent investigator with skills and abilities that will make everybody else look silly, because you will have experience in court, you will have case management experience, you will have all sorts of experience, and that'll just make you a better copper. So and feel free to drop a message anytime. I'm assuming when you say police academy, you're talking about the Ontario Police College. If you're talking about somewhere else, please let me know where you're going. Interested to know. Like I have a cousin who's in Michigan, and they do it differently there. They go to police academy and then they look for jobs, whereas in Ontario, you have to be sent with a sponsor agency in order to go. Long distance cruiser wants to know what my opinion is on the German Autobahn, with some of it having no general speed limit. I think it's great. I've driven it. I think that the skill level of a German driver, or those that are on the Autobahn, generally are way better than Ontarian drivers or even Canadian drivers. Um, they are very strictly enforced. There may not be a speed limit, but they enforce lane etiquette like crazy. And the average speed limit is 80 to 130, depending on the area you're in. Verk, I saw your question pop up, and I'm going to try and go through the rest of the TikToks first, and then I'll come back to you. By the way, if you're watching and you don't know what's going on here, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And I answer traffic and police questions. And we also talk about recruiting and all sorts of things. But I'm going to continue with these questions because I want to wrap the show in the next 15 minutes. Okay. What is this? What is having business stickers on your personal truck make it a commercial vehicle? It doesn't necessarily make it a commercial vehicle. Depends on the context of the stickers. If you're advertising for a company, it could be classified as a commercial purpose, which might change your insurance perspective because you're getting paid to have it. You're advertising. If it's just having stickers, doesn't make it commercial on its own. We got Mad Ice, who wants to know how many tickets I've given out since I started as a police officer. No idea how many I gave out. It's probably a stat that would be interesting, but it's irrelevant because I never tried to hit a score. Numbers weren't important. It was quality over quantity. So I have no idea. What do we hear? Cody says, you asked me the same question. No, stickers doesn't necessarily, not for the Highway Traffic Act. It's the classification of the vehicle, the way it's plated, the way it's rated, the way it's owned. All those things matter. User lots of numbers says, did seeing someone with a radar that you pulled over change the chance of getting a warning? Radar? Like if you had a radar detector, then you got the radar detector seized and you got a ticket for that in addition to whatever you were pulled over for. Can police tow my car for expired plates? No, but you get to tow you can tow the car for that because it's not legal for the road. So if they say you can't drive it, then you get to pay for the tow. The police aren't going to force you to or seize it, but that's a different story. Random says, if my car gets damaged from city potholes, is there a way to get the city to pay for the bill? Yeah. If your rims or something is damaged as a result of their hazardous potholes or lack of maintaining the roadway, you can apply for compensation with the local municipality or wherever whoever owns the road. They're responsible for making sure it's safe. Yes. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. He says, don't use the R word. It was I think I've been watching too much U.S. politics. There's an American politician who uses that word a lot. It just slipped out. Anyway, can police tow my vehicle? We talked about that. Ontario license valid in Nova Scotia? Yes, but if you move there, you have to transfer your license to Nova Scotia. Talked about that. James says, no, I've been in a collision, so high speed over 50K freaked me out, so that's why. Okay, got it. Be a fine for 50 under in a 90 zone. 50 under in a 90 zone? Yeah, it's on this. If you're doing 50 kilometers under in a 90, you're doing 40 in a 90, it's unsafe. Okay. If your Chip was it Chip who was asking about the Nova Scotia license? Hang on, let me scroll back. Someone said live there, and I'm trying to get the context of that. Random, we covered it. Can I sell my car that doesn't have insurance? Yes, but you can't drive it, and they can't drive it until they put their insurance on it and a plate. Let's see here. Lots of people talking about that. 150 stunt in a 110 zone. Yes, anywhere 150 anywhere is stunt, even on private property, I would imagine. Although I don't think anyone's ever laid the charge. But yeah, 150 anywhere is stunt. Yeah, and James was talking about the too slow. So the way it works, Ready Tech, or is it Red Eye Tech? It's 40 over in a speed under 80, a speed zone under 80. It's 50 over in a speed zone 80 and above, and it's 150 anywhere. Okay. Can you drink soup while driving? Could be careless driving. Red Eye Tech wanted to know if Melody is 310S or 310T. I wish I saw this when Melody was still on, but if she's watching, maybe she can answer that. Let's see here. What happens if you were caught driving in an unsafety car? Well, if it's unsafe, you'd be charged for driving an unsafe motor vehicle. And I see Melody did say 310S. What he reading? Red Eye Tech. Okay. I'm on different platforms, but I'm also way behind in the chat. Scrolling here. Oh, okay. Lots of people answered that. Scrolling through. By the way, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer from Ontario, Canada, and I am answering traffic and police questions. But I am going to try and wrap the show up very shortly. I usually do an hour. I say that I usually do an hour. I usually do 2 hours, with the goal of doing 1 hour. But we're working on it. We're working on keeping it down to an hour. I got lots of stuff to do once I hang up here. I say hang up like I'm on a phone call. Verk says, I got a question. If I have broken glass of taillight, but the lights work perfectly, will I still be unlawful enough to pull me over? Okay. And he says, by the way, I love the work that you're doing here. Thank you very much, Verk. I appreciate the appreciation. So here's the deal. If you are projecting light other than red or amber to the rear, so if your brake lights are projecting white light because the glass is broken, that's not legal and it's not safe. So yeah, you can be pulled over for that. Absolutely. WMV123 says, how long do I need to work as a police officer if I want to be a detective? So I was a police constable. I worked for a period of time in the detective office. During the time that I was assigned there, I was called a detective constable. A sergeant who's on the road who goes to work in a detective office is called a detective. The rank of sergeant is detective. So most people would say if you want to be a true detective, you would have to be someone who has the rank of sergeant, which is 8 to 10 years on average, before you'd be really looking to apply for that role. And then you'd be able to work in a detective capacity and be a detective for the title. In the NYPD, for instance, you write an exam, you become a detective, you're a detective. It's not a sergeant. There's sergeants in the detective bureau. It's a totally different pathway. So different police services and different systems in play depending on where you are. Okay. Why are spinner knobs legal on semi trucks and how much is the fine? They're not illegal in Ontario. I was having this conversation with Brian Max today, as a matter of fact. They're not illegal. And for people with different abilities based on their physical issues, they do install them. Now, you don't need them anymore. Power assist and full power vehicles, they just don't need them. It's silly, and I wouldn't want them because they could become harmful in a collision. It could hurt you. Uber Jeff says, if a phone is in the phone holder, are you able to tap on the screen or Uber accept on the screen to answer a telephone call? You can tap on the screen to hang up the telephone call, and it is open mounted, but you're not allowed to read through the screen. You're not allowed to be interacting with the screen other than a hang up or pick up. Now, that doesn't extend into Uber use, so you should be legally parked when engaged with that app. It's not exempt. So if you're reading and you're trying to decide how close is it, how far is it, do I want to accept that? You are engaged in that phone. You would be eligible for the $615 ticket. Kane Blade 2049 wants to know if I've ever engaged in a pit maneuver, and I have not. I've never had to have intentional contact with another vehicle as a result of working as a police officer. And I'm glad, because that would be a mess of paperwork. Grant says, high park cameras, why don't they just install speed bumps or an officer permanently doing radar? Well, let's start with the police officer. Do you want to pay $125,000 a year salary for someone to stand on the road and pick up one car at a time and ticket them? It's not a useful way of doing it for permanently. Like, that's all they do. Why wouldn't you put a camera there and catch every car that violates instead of 1 in 10 or 1 in 20? It's just not economical. But the fact is, there's not enough police officers. And even if they hired a police officer for that purpose, it would take about 10 seconds until they were redeployed for more important things. There's a opioid issue in High Park on Tuesday. Well, guess what? You're the closest guy you're going. When no one else is available, they would be the guy or gal or person or whatever. Speed bumps, they damage everybody's car over long-term exposure. They don't they don't necessarily slow people down. Some people have SUVs that eat speed bumps for breakfast, and they do slow down police officers, fire trucks and ambulances, making the ride pretty uncomfortable for anyone who's in the back needing urgent medical care. So it's, yeah, kind of not a good idea. Speed bumps. Great for parking lots for 5 seconds, not good for city streets when people actually have to get through and do important stuff and things when they get there. Let's see here. What are we talking about here? H132 says, you should have answered my questions. I obviously missed your questions. Scrolling back and I don't see them. So maybe you were flagged for some reason. I don't know. But if you ask it again, maybe I'll be able to see it. Is a phone, we talked about that. Is window tint safe? Depends on how tinted we're talking about. It's not unsafe unless it's too dark, and then it's unsafe for everybody. Can't see in, can't see out, lots of problems. What is this? Ask a traffic cop turned barbarian? Don't know what that comment is supposed to mean. Oh, maybe because of the beard. I'm not sure. There's this. Alex says there's a percentage of we're talking about tint. So 30% is the maximum permissible tint restrictions. You have to have 70% of light being transferred through the window. CEO Tommy says, hey, Peel Police misses you. Peel Police is are so many of my good friends are with Peel, and Tommy, I appreciate that. Tavern, don't know what we're talking about. Tavern. Crash Davies says, is there any highways in Ontario where you can max a car out speed-wise, test it out legally? No, unless your maximum speed's 110 kilometers an hour, because that's the maximum speed that is permitted on the road. Like, that's the highest rated speed in Ontario for any highway that I'm aware of. And Alex says, motorways or drag strips. That's the right answer, Alex. If you want to go fast, take it to the track. And that's where I have a friend going to the track for a track day tomorrow. Cold cases, not really my thing, but there's a group who work on cold cases like it is on TV. What's the legal amount an officer can drop a speed ticket? There's no legal amount. If you do 60 in a 30 and I want to charge you for 5 over, I could. If I want to not charge you at all, I could. Like, there's no legal obligation to write a ticket. We write tickets because we know that you're breaking the law. We're holding you accountable for what you actually did. If you want to give someone a break and try and save them some demerit points or roll it back at 1, 2, 10, whatever, that's the prerogative of the officer. There's very few things you have to do as a police officer in terms of holding or laying charges. Assault, spousal assault, you have to lay those charges. You got to protect the people involved. You can't leave a victim and just say, well, we'll give you a warning. That's not okay anymore. Red rum, you gotta arrest people. There's no choice. The way it's written in the law, it says you shall as opposed to you may. Changes things. That's a good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that, at least not in that way. A slight controlled sliding. Oh, so here's a question. Is slight controlled sliding in a rear-wheel drive car allowed in the winter? Unintentional but controlled. Unintentional and controlled. Let's talk about that. Once it is unintentional and you recover, that's what's controlled. If you maintain that slide through an intersection, if you maintain that slide and continue to drive whilst sliding, you're in a fishtail, you're 45 degrees, but it was unintentional, but you're continuing to drive that way, you're stunt driving. You're eligible for a ticket. Now, it's different than if you were saying you could not straighten the vehicle because of the road conditions. Maybe unlikely, possible, unlikely. Maybe you're going up a hill and the only way to get up the hill is to continue that slight pitch. Maybe. But more often than not, and I know people who have been charged for stunt driving for doing it. They'll go through an intersection, they'll lose traction, but then they'll ride that all the way through. Well, that's no longer unintentional. It's quite intentional. You didn't start the fire, but you anyway, I'm going to go into a song. I hope that explains it. If you need more, bring it back up. Speed bumps also cause the ripple slowdown that results in busy streets. Yeah, it's a mess. That caterpillar. Rob McFadden says, are you allowed to use right turn signals if not obstructing? Are you allowed to not use turn signals if not obstructing traffic? You are required to signal your intention to move your vehicle in left, to change lanes. If it could affect any other road, pedestrian, cyclist, skateboarder, anybody. So if there's anybody else on the road, signal. Tracy, how you doing? See you. Saw you here now. Maybe scrolled past you earlier, but my apologies if I missed you. H132 says, pull me over and issues a verbal warning. Will TPS be able to see that stop in their MDT? If it was a verbal warning and it was you could, whenever someone's run, there's a check on your license plate. That hit or the number of times it's been hit would be reported. If you got a warning and it wasn't a printed warning, no one else would see the printed warning. It could just be a run, not necessarily a stop. So no, it depends. If there was a printed warning, we'd be able to pull up the printed warning. If it was printed, yeah. What else can I say about that? Cam says, not okay anymore about assault. Please elaborate and explain. I don't know what you're talking about. I actually don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're. So, do we talk about assault? I don't think we talked about assault. Where are you going? My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. But what's the assault thing? Boom. Dave, an OPP cruiser went past me yesterday and one of his daytime running lights wasn't working. Not against the law. You can't get safety of the vehicle without it, but you don't get a ticket for having a daytime running light out. A headlight out would be the thing. Now, they should be circle checking their vehicle. That vehicle should be going straight to the mechanic and getting it repaired just because safety is a thing. But it's not against the law. Kane Blade 2049 says, USA cops, actually, they said cups. They're very corrupt cups. Canada one's better. I can't speak to every police officer everywhere. We have corrupt police officers every country, everywhere in the world. There's always going to be bad people who shouldn't be wearing a badge or a uniform. But there's so many good ones, and those good ones want to find the bad ones and get rid of them. And I don't mean in a criminal way. They don't want them wearing the uniform. They're a disgrace. Corrupt cops and politicians, corrupt anybody. They're a disgrace. Mihan says, if I previously worked for the police, will the officers see that when they pull me over? No, probably not. No. Dave said, should I have tried to let him know? Oh, in terms of the headlight out? Not for a daytime running light, no. They should have done and Melody says they should have done a circle check. Christine says, my insurance provides a digital pink slip now. Is this a valid way to present it to an officer if I'm stopped? It is legal in Ontario. Other provinces may have different rules, but it's legal in Ontario. We accept them if it's issued in other places too. It's just sign of the times. Eventually, everything will be electronic. Has to be from a verified, secure app. Okay. But Tracy says it has to be on the official, yes, official insurance app, 100%. Does a U-Haul box truck count as a semi-truck? No. A semi is an articulated vehicle. Generally speaking, that's what a semi is, truck and trailer combination. What we got here? Oh, interesting. Digital wallet depends on how it got there, Christine. If it's a digital wallet because the official app put it there, then it's probably okay. Mateus Lopez asks if lane filtering is legal in Toronto. I know lane splitting is illegal. Lane filtering isn't legal either, but it's generally not something that is targeted if it's done safely and reasonably. And I kind of get it. Like I understand why people do it. I'm a motorcycle guy. And that's where you filter through at low speed or walking pace to the front of the line so you're not rammed into when someone on their cell phone decides to not do what they're supposed to do. Ethan says, Sean, it's late. Yes, I'm 1 minute into where I'm supposed to be saying goodbye. And I'm almost at the end of the list. Cam says, I think you were talking about charging people and mentioned police not laying charges for assault. No, I said they have to lay charges for domestic assault and things of that nature. Assault, you don't have to lay a charge. I don't think it says you shall lay a charge for assault because it could be a consensual fight. you can't have I don't think you can have a consensual fist fight amongst a position of spouses. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd have to read into that. But yeah, assault isn't necessarily an automatic thing, but spousal abuse, it is. And what happens is you go through a checklist essentially, and you determine who the dominant aggressor is. You determine what the risks to that person are, and that's when you're, for liability reasons, no one's leaving that charge unlaid, and someone's getting arrested. To traffic light, railway crossing, then traffic light right after. Can I go through the first when red? Traffic light, railway crossing, then traffic light right after. I'm not picking up what you're putting down, my friend. A traffic light that's with a red signal, how are you going to go through it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Making a right turn on red in your scenario would put you on the railway track. I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Okay. Do all school buses need to stop at the abandoned railway crossing? The rules say railway crossing, and there's no way to guarantee that it's abandoned. Thus, when they're crossing, anyone with a bus license would be required to stop for a bus for a railway crossing. When they remove the track, you can stop crossing or stop stopping. Yeah. How about tow wars? What about tow wars? Had to cop in USA defraud me online. I found out they cops and they lie, avoid charges. Caneblade, don't know, but I mean, it sounds terrible. Don't know enough to really comment on it. I just read your comment. Wants to know if it's illegal to switch lanes in the middle of an intersection and see a lot of close calls. Dangerous, but not illegal. It is not something I would suggest doing because it's unsafe, not illegal. I always describe it this way: if you are going through an intersection, it's a roll, right turn, has to go from one lane. Anticipate where you're going to end up. And if you're in lane 1, which is closest to the center, and you decide to go to lane 2 in the midst of an intersection while someone is also making a turn, they've made reasonable expectations of where you're going to be at the end of your cross through the intersection. When you make a change, you might cause a collision. You might even be held responsible for that collision. But just changing lanes on its own is not illegal. And Tracy aptly says, legal, but not safe. Is it legal for cops to give each other tickets for speeding? Yes. In fact, I've even heard cops and know of cops who have impounded police cars for various offenses. So absolutely, it's legal for police to hold police accountable if it's justified. It could be uncomfortable. I've arrested family of police. I've never arrested a police officer because I have never had call to. But yeah, you do what you got to do. You do the right thing. That's what's important. It is that time where I say goodnight because I've been doing this for an hour and 32 minutes, and it's time for me to do something else. So it's been a pleasure hanging with you. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time to do this all over again for the daytime version. So hopefully I'll have the rest of my setup done. I'm really happy with the very weird and wonderful extension of my screen through a computer it's just beyond wild. Have a wonderful day, night. Drive safe, park legally, be sober, drive sober, do your thing. Smile, have fun. If you've got questions tomorrow, if you think about them after I sign off, join me tomorrow at 10 a.m. And the offer remains open. If someone wants to join the show, email askatrafficcop@gmail.com. Let me know who you are and what you want to talk about. We'll have you on the show sometime. Thank you to Melody, who joined me this evening. It's always nice to have my mechanic friend talk about stuff and things and be able to answer questions from a different perspective. But let me know what's going on. Let me know what you'd like to see in upcoming episodes. If there's someone you think would make a great guest on the show, maybe somebody who's in the traffic safety space, a police officer, a firefighter, somebody that you think would contribute to this community answering questions about stuff and things, then let me know because I'd love to talk to them too. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Why is that button not working? It's the wrong button. I had to press it was going to make my voice like this. I had the wrong button pressed. All right, I'm out of here. Bye.